Welcome back to another video, guys. Let's take a look at my navigation kit. So thank you for joining me in the woods here once again. We are back with another video today, and in this one we're going to take a look at the kit and stuff that I carry for navigation when I'm out in the woods or in the hills. We're going to go over why I carry some of the stuff, how I use some of the stuff, maybe things that you should be carrying or things that you maybe shouldn't be carrying. So without further ado, let's go ahead, get these down on the ground and open them up and have a look at what we have inside. This is my kit for navigation in the woods, and it comprises of two parts. This part is my kind of straight up just navigation, bog standard navigation stuff. This pouch is all of my additional stuff that can be used for navigation but is also used in some other ways. So we'll start by having a look at that kit and the main navigation stuff, and then we'll take a look at what I've got in here. So right away, the first thing you're seeing is these bright orange button looking things. So what these are is this is my pacing beads. So taking them off, this is what we have. So these are my pacing beads, or ranger beads, or whatever you want to call them. This is a way of measuring or keeping track of your distance travelled when in backcountry areas in a very simple and sleek way. So these often live on the shoulder straps of my backpack or on a belt loop or something along those lines, but they can also live on the map. So the way these work is, the first thing you do is you find out what your pace count is. And what that means is how many steps does it take for you to walk 100 meters. And the simple way to do that is either have an area where you know the set distance is 100 meters, or alternatively, you can measure out 100 meters. And what you need to do is you need to walk from one end to the other. You set off on your right foot and count every time that your left foot hits the ground. Or alternatively, you can do setting off with your left and counting your right, whatever is easier for you. Now, I'm going to do a video in the future just about pacing and things like that, because navigation is one of my favourite subjects. So we're going to focus on that a little bit in upcoming videos. But the number you get for that, the best way to do it is do it a couple of times and average it, but the number you get is your pace. That is your pace for 100 meters. In my case, mine sits about 63, that's what I go with. I've got quite short legs, but I extend them quite a lot. Mine sits about 63 paces. So how that works is when we're out walking, every time my left foot hits the ground, I count 1. I count up until I hit 63. When I reach 63, that has been 100 meters. And what I do is I take one of these lower beads, there is 9 of these, and I move it to the bottom. And that signals that I have walked 100 meters. I then count to 63 again. I move another one, 200 meters. I then count to 63 again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Once all of these 9 beads here have been moved to the bottom of this string, that signals that I have walked 900 meters. When I then count to 63 again, instead of moving these, I move these ones, and I move one of them. And then these get reset to the start. This signifying 1,000 meters or a kilometer. So from that, we can see that these pacing beads work up to basically 5,000 meters or 5 kilometers, just shy of that at 4,900. If you're needing to walk a longer distance than that without having checkpoints or waypoints or landmarks at locations, you're running into an issue there in your route planning or in other forms of your navigation. So 5,000 meters or 5 kilometers is plenty enough for a pair or set of ranger beads. I've talked about these before, so let's not ramble too much. This is my new set. They're brightly orange, so they're obvious. So moving back to the rest of this kit, it is housed in a waterproof pouch to keep the map dry. I have a lanyard on there with a little carabiner, so that means I can keep it connected to either my rucksack or my belt loop or something like that, so that I do not lose my maps. In here, we have a few things, so let's get them out. So first things first, a basic, simple HB pencil, cut down. It's a little short pencil. This is kind of a, if I'm only carrying this kit, this is the writing implement I'll go to. This is mostly for drawing on the maps or making notes on the map and things like that. Pretty straightforward, but something that a lot of people don't carry. So I do recommend carrying a pencil in your map kit. We then have a compass. So I use a Silva compass. So this is a Type 4/45 compass from Silva. So this has got your standard illuminating bezel, glow in the dark somewhat bezel with a glow in the dark. We've got a glow in the dark indicator at the front. Relatively or pretty decently accurate. There is a bubble in there. It hasn't affected it too much yet. You've got the scales, so you've got the 1 to 50,000 scale and the 1 to 40,000 scale, the 1 to 25,000 scale up the top, and then you also have a centimetre ruler along the bottom, or along one edge, and you have inches along the other, so it will work for a variety of different people. You've got the magnifying glass in the middle. That does come in handy for looking at maps, but also for some first aid stuff, surprisingly enough. And then on there is the standard red lanyard with a little carabiner, so again, if I'm only carrying my compass, I can keep it connected to me, because things like navigation equipment we never want to lose. The last thing that I have in the map case is the map itself, and I use Ordnance Survey maps. I'm in the British Isles here, so Ordnance Survey is the logical choice. This is for my area. I have removed the cover from this OS map and folded it to cover. I always fold it to cover within one half of the map case, or as in one side of the map case, to cover the area I am actively working in whenever I'm out. As you can see, I've highlighted the numbers both up and down the way, up and along the way. I'll leave a link to a video. I believe it was from Craig Taylor at the Bushcraft Padawan. I believe it was a video from him that showed me that, and it is a really good thing to do. It makes it so much easier to see the numbers. There we can see Craigellachie. There's Craigellachie. So you've got things like the Isle Way and the Speyside Way, which I have walked up there. So yeah, Ordnance Survey maps. I choose the Ordnance Survey Explorer series maps. They are the orange covered ones over the Land Ranger, which are the pink ones. The difference being the Explorer ones are 1 to 25,000 and the Land Ranger are 1 to 50,000. So you get a little bit more detail in these ones. So for actual on-ground activities, these are a little bit better. So that covers my kind of typical navigation kit. At the very least, if I'm going out where I need navigation equipment, or I do try to take it as much as possible, I will definitely have that with me. This kit, you've seen it before. If you've seen my Bushcraft backpack video, this was in there. It's had a little bit of an update since then. But what this is my notebook set. This is my field book set, or whatever you want to call it. So to quickly look at the outside, I have a carabiner there. Really, I could use that to connect this pouch to something, hang it off a line under my tarp or something, but also it's an extra place to keep a carabiner. And then on the front, I simply have a black Sharpie and a simple pen. That one's blue. The colour doesn't really matter. Those are quick access writing implements. opening it up, we have a number of things on the inside here. So we'll go through some of the stationery first, and then we'll have a look at the notebooks. So we start with, on the right hand side, a simple ballpoint clicky pen, unlikely to fail, and again just another pen there. That is kind of a backup. It's maybe a little bit overkill to carry this much, but it's worth it sometimes. A second HB pencil there, a little bit longer, and that one is actually sharp because it's been sharpened. That's again more for the notebooks rather than the maps, and I will come to the difference in a minute. I then have a couple of kind of highlighter Bic pens here, kind of a pastel colour in green and blue. I might swap one of these out for something like a pink or a yellow, so there's a bit of a difference, but they're useful for making notes a little bit nicer in the notebooks, but also highlighting things on the map, or if you get access to a new map and you need to highlight your numbers, you can do it in the field. And finally, I carry this big chunky pen. So this is a whiteboard pen. So this is like a dry erase pen for on whiteboards. This is good when I'm doing stuff for the scouts and things I need to write on whiteboards. These are also really good for things such as the plastic case for my maps. With this, my maps in. So, like when my map's in my case here, I could draw something like, oh look, a smiley face, and then that'll just wipe straight back off. But more seriously, there's maybe a river that we cannot cross, and instead we're going to have to come down here to this bridge to cross it, to continue on our way, and things like that. So I can actually use this to draw on the map with kind of quick access without having to take the map out. So even if it's raining, I can do that. But also, if I'm, trying to do stuff that's going to be changing really quickly, I can do that. And finally, we're going to come in to a couple of things behind the notebooks here. So in the back, I've got a little flimsy little kind of plastic ruler here with inches and centimetres. That's a 15 centimetre ruler there. Comes in handy. Put stuff on the map, though I'm probably going to use the compass. And finally, I have a little packet of post-it notes here. They are good for, again, if you want to write out a more detailed note to put on the map and things like that, you could do that. And it weighs nothing. So finally, we come to the two notebooks that I carry in here. You've seen both of these before. We have my yellow one and my black one. These are both from Write in the Rain, which means they work when they are wet, which is super good when you live in a climate such as Scotland. So we'll start with the black one, in fact, because this is very self-explanatory. This is my little, that really needs to get more in it. This is just my little field notes kind of plant journal. So there is a page on hazel with a picture. We've got the English translation name, you've got the Latin name or scientific name, you've got the family, and then I've also noted whether it is deciduous or evergreen. The importance of that in this case, for example, is all I'm really showing here in terms of ID is the leaf, and if it's deciduous and it's winter and I'm trying to find some hazel, I'm not going to be able to find this. And then we've got some descriptions, and then at the bottom we've got some other descriptions about the wood and the bark and things like that. I need to get more into that. That's actually the only page in there that I've gotten into doing. Might do some more at some point. But that's just my little kind of plant journal. And my yellow notebook here is, it's probably more boring, but more important in my opinion. This is just a notebook. That's all this is for. This is to write anything down, any notes down when I'm out, or if I want a quick sketch, a plant, so that I can ID it at home and then add it to the big book or the bigger book. I can do that. This comes in handy when taking down grid references or bearings or things like that as well. And that's kind of the important thing about this whole kit here. This whole green pouch is this isn't just a nav kit. This is my notebook set for in the field, and it will get more notebooks added to it as I develop more things. So I've got my plant one there, but I also want to set up one specifically for recipes for in the woods and things like that. And they will all live in this kit when I'm out. But I thought I'd include that in my nav kit because it does have an important role, and I wanted to share the point of, if you're going to have a nav kit, have a notebook to go with it. So that is the contents there of my full navigation kit. Hopefully that you maybe learned something from that or got some ideas of things to do to your own kit. This is a continuation in my kind of series of delving into bits of kit that I'm carrying and stuff like that. So let me know what you want to see next. Maybe there's a specific thing that I showed in a video and that you want to see more of. Always let me know. And again, anything, if you want to see any type of video, leave it in the comments and I'll let you know. I try to respond to my comments as much as possible, so if it is something that I think I can do, I'll let you know, and if it's something that I can't, then I will let you know. But that's going to about do it for this one. That is my full navigation kit. As always, there will be links in the description to everything mentioned here as far as possible, and if not alternatives, as well as any references made in the video will get linked. But that's going to do it for this one, guys, so thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing as well. Until next time, bye for now.